Dricus.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. You know, a lot of the talk about this fight's been, oh, it's personal this, it's personal that. But when we've seen you and Izzy at the press conference before, it was kind of well-mannered. And I think even on this fight week, it's not like we've heard, like, terrible insults thrown at each other. As you get close to the fight, how are you feeling personally about the contest?
Yeah, I mean, I think I know it's definitely personal for him because he took a lot of offense in what I said for speaking the truth, and he didn't like it. So it was never personal because there's nothing to be personal about. For me, I stated facts. I said what I said. It's 100% the fact. And he took it very personal. So, yeah, he's angry. I don't care. And, I mean, that's it. At the end of the day, I'm here. I'm here for my business. My business is winning. Not defending about winning this fight.
When you look at this fight, ignore all the other stuff outside of it, do you think this is almost a contest between two puzzles, right? He was considered this big puzzle that was hard to figure out with his feints and his movement, and now you've come in here and it seems like a lot of people can't even figure out what you're doing to be successful, but you are being successful. Do you see this as a clash between two men who can confuse most of the division, and it's up to the other guy to figure them out?
Yeah, I think especially at this level of the sport, that is what you get. I think that is at this level, when you're fighting at the top, champion and contender, you get everybody's fit, strong, good enough striking, good enough wrestling, good enough on the grappling. Everybody has aspects. Some a little better, let's say better in grappling, some are better in striking, but everybody's good everywhere. It's about who shows up on the night with the plan, and if that plan needs changing, who can, like you say, figure it out. So you can look at it as two puzzles, or you can look at it as two great fighters, and we're going to find out who came with the best armor.
You're obviously going to prepare for the toughest guy you could possibly face, right? But there are questions about Israel after that performance against Sean. In your gut instinct and in your heart of hearts, do you think that was an off night for him, or do you think that was potentially the beginning of a new Israel that we're going to start seeing?
I'll be honest, I've said it many times in previous interviews where I said I think it was an off night. It was very evident in terms of how he fought. You know, just the whole fight, you could see it. But then I fought Strickland, and my whole perception around that fight changed. Because now I firsthand experienced what it's like to fight Sean Strickland. He's hard to hit. And you know, with Izzy, he doesn't throw volume. He throws strikes that, you know, he's pinpoint accurate with his strikes, or at least he tries to be. He's more of a move, hit. And when he fought Strickland, he missed all those shots. Strickland is really, really good defensively. And that was, when I fought Strickland, I immediately realized that's what happened. I threw volume so I could catch him and I could beat him. But Israel doesn't throw the volume, so every time he threw, he missed the shot. He missed the shots. He had 2, 3 maximum, and he would miss. So originally, I thought that Israel had an off night, and then after fighting Strickland and going to watch that fight again, you know, I actually think it was just Strickland that did what he does extremely well, and that style didn't suit Israel at all.
Yeah. It sounds like, according to Dana White, Strickland's going to be next for whoever comes out this weekend. Is that a fight that interests you, or are you one of these guys who are like, you know, like we hear Islam Makhachev, right? Like, I don't want rematches. I want fresh puzzles all the time. Are you okay with Sean Strickland, or do you think, hey, that Whittaker-Khamzat fight makes more sense to me? How are you feeling about a rematch with Strickland?
Well, the Whittaker-Khamzat fight, I honestly thought, and I actually said as well, I thought that was going to be it but I honestly don't care. I'm here to beat whoever. You know, the fight that people want to see. That's why this fight is so great for me, that we're fighting Israel Adesanya. Because the most people in the fight world wants to see myself versus Israel Adesanya. That's the fight that people want to see, and that is at the end of the day what we do. We entertain. We entertain the people, we entertain the crowd, and we entertain the people that buys the tickets, buys the pay-per-views, because that's why they do it. They want to be entertained. So for me, I don't mind fighting either one of those two, Strickland, Khamzat, or Whittaker. But all three of those fighters have the pros and cons. Actually, you know, fighting Strickland, a lot of people want to see it, but it's a rematch. But if that's the decision of the UFC, great, let's go for it. Fighting Khamzat, he's never been beaten. It's going to be a massive fight, just in terms of numbers. Great, let's do it. Fighting Whittaker, the all-time legend, Robert Whittaker. But it's a rematch. So there's pros and cons in fighting any of these three guys. For me, the most important part is fighting the best next guy.
Dricus, right here. On the countdown, I think you used something. They were talking about your fight against Whittaker. You credited your coach for finding holes, and you said there just weren't that many holes in Robert Whittaker's games, and he found them. When you guys are breaking down Israel, are you guys finding holes that you can exploit, or is Israel kind of, just a kind of well-refined fighter in there?
No, listen, even with Robert Whittaker, when I said finding holes, we didn't find any holes. We just found a place where holes could be made. So that's what I was referring to in that. At this level, you don't see the holes, these clear holes in people's games. You just don't see it because that's why we're at the top of the game. You do see places where they get uncomfortable. They don't necessarily make the mistakes, but there is place to force them to make mistakes. And that's what I feel we did with the Whittaker fight, and that's what we're going to do in this fight. We don't see mistakes and say, oh, that's where we're going to catch him. No, we see places where they get uncomfortable, and you force that mistake.
Well, kind of going off of that, it showed Israel's reaction when you switched to southpaw. Like, he stood up and he was like, oh, he's southpaw now, and he was kind of watching you a lot more. Do you have plans like that for, I'm sure you can't give us your game plan, but do you guys have a specific tailored plan for Israel, or are you just kind of focusing on yourself in there?
No, the thing is with Israel, he fights switch stances either way anyway. So, like myself, I fight both ways. With the Whittaker fight, we just, he doesn't switch really. He doesn't switch, so that's why we did that. But I fight switch all the time, and Israel as well. So it doesn't make sense to say, okay, cool, I'm only going to fight this or that. No, it's definitely not. For very specifically for Whittaker, that was the game plan. And for this fight, we had to do something else. So like I said, I can fight both ways, but in a fight where a guy switches the whole time, it doesn't make sense to do something like that.
What's with the taser in fight camp?
Well, I mean, you don't just become world champion.
So that's been a thing that's been happening for a while, or because some people thought it was
everybody thought it was something that's new for this camp. Not at all. It's probably been part of the team for 2.5+ years, 100%. But no, we never filmed it. I don't know why. I can see now probably why. The rest of the world might seem crazy, but I mean, we used to be, coach used to leg kick us, and he has a very strong leg kick. If you make the mistakes continuously, after he's warned you a couple of times, but that takes you out of training, not out of training, but it makes training difficult for a couple of days because he has a very hard low kick. So the taser is much better than that because the taser hurts a lot more in the moment, but it's over quickly.
So when he introduced that to camp, did he tell you that was happening, or did he just show up with the taser one day?
Well, I can't remember the exact moment it happened, but when he came to the gym, he's like, okay, I got this. I just went, okay, great. This is it now. And everybody thought, like, people were laughing like, no. And I said, guys, might as well stop it. I've known coach for 12 years. The idea's been set. We are getting tased from now on. Might as well get used to the idea. In fact, we've upgraded the taser now because we grew used to the old one. And he almost figured out it doesn't have the effect. Sure. And he actually tased himself. He's like, okay, this sucks, but it's not that bad. Get me a stronger one. And that's why we have the big one now. It's a proper one.
So last thing on the taser, like, what is it? Just like when your hand's out of place, he'll just like zap you? Or is like what?
No, it's not like that. He doesn't walk around just zapping people. He warns you. It's not just a quick tase. It's a let's call it the South African sticky note. He tells you, Dricus, your hand, it's not high enough. You're not covering your face. And even though I might feel my hands covering my face, it's just too low. Or he'll say your foot's not in the right spot. You need to do that. Your base is not right. You're too far leaning back. Whatever, chin's in the air, whatever it may be. And he'll warn you, and he'll warn you again. And on the third time, he's like, okay, I've warned you twice about this, on your stomach. And you just lie down, tase right under the foot, there you go.
Fair enough.
And he asks you, he goes, or he doesn't say anything, and he goes, stop. if you can tell me what you did wrong, I won't tase you. What did you do wrong? And I'll be like, my hands went up. He says, nope. And then he'll tase you and he'll tell you what you did wrong. So, I mean, it's a great reminder.
Sure. Fair enough. There was a report that came out that a couple rugby stars are going to walk you out. When did you find that out, and what does it mean to you to have them walk you out to your title fight?
Yeah, I mean, the Springboks, our national team, 4-time world champions, back-to-back world champions, are playing up the stadium Saturday. They are heroes. They are the mighty Springboks. And they are playing at Optus Stadium this weekend, Saturday. And the team is coming to watch my fight on Sunday, the whole national team. I mean, that's my heroes and the whole country's heroes coming to watch me perform. It's a massive, massive privilege. And I immediately, when we started this, I mean, weeks ago, 4 or 5 weeks ago, I said, is there any chance we can make this happen? We started getting after it, and thank you to the UFC for making this possible.
Historically, when you see a fighter from a nation become a champion, there's a massive explosion. We're seeing that with Ilya in Spain when Brandon Moreno won from Mexico. So how has MMA kind of exploded since you won the title in January?
Oh, wow. It's incredible to see just MMA gyms all over the country exploding and getting better. Just seeing the quality of the local scene in the EFC, where I started my career, an amazing, amazing platform of producing local talent and international talent in Africa, and just seeing the quality of competition there, and seeing the quality of fighters that's being delivered, and also seeing not just in the local promotion, seeing fighters from South Africa that has all this talent but never been taken seriously by the rest of the world. I'm talking about your UAE Warriors, Brave. What's another league where they fight? I mean, Bellator, PFL, those kind of things, those kind of organizations. And now they start looking at Risen as well, start looking at the South African fighters going, well, they have a UFC world champion. There has to be something there. Now the fighters all over South Africa and Africa are getting much more attention from all these almost feeding ground MMA promotions. And that's amazing because people get the opportunity to do this for a living full time, getting money where they can support a family and support that dream that they have to make it to the UFC and become a champion of the world, because it's been done. So to see that, I mean, we just had the first Olympic wrestler from South Africa in the Olympics, I think, I stand corrected, from 1948. It's the first time. And he fought for a bronze medal. And he didn't win it, but I mean, still, it's a massive achievement. So just seeing martial arts of any sort, just seeing the small wrestling school, karate school, boxing gyms, all of that just growing because kids look at it and they want to do it because now they can become a world champion. It's incredible to see, and the support's been amazing.
And last one for me, unrelated to your fight, but November 1st, they're going to introduce some new rule changes. They're going to allow 12 to 6 elbows, and they're going to change the definition of grounded opponents. I'm curious, did you hear about these rules, and do you think it has been a long time coming?
Yeah, the 12 to 6 elbows doesn't really matter to me. I mean, throwing an elbow like this and throwing an elbow like this is exactly the same thing to me, so I don't really care about that one, but the grounded opponent one is pretty cool. That's a pretty cool rule. I think we're going to see some sick knockouts with that one.
Dricus, in terms of the role model you are in South Africa and for African MMA, what would it mean to you to take that belt back again, to defend your title, and the knock-on effect that it will have in terms of bringing the UFC finally to South Africa? I know Dana White has said, should you get past Israel, that will happen. How important is it to you, and are you feeling a little bit of extra pressure because you have the hopes of a nation on your shoulders?
Well, I'm getting past Israel, and 100% the fact that Dana said that. I know he said it before, that, if South Africa wins a world title, we're going there. But, it's hard. I know that for a fact. I know there's a lot of things that needs to fall into place. We have the Minister of Sports from South Africa coming to watch the fight, coming to make sure we do whatever needs to be done to get that fight, get the UFC in South Africa and in Africa for the first time. A massive, massive goal I've had for many years, thinking I want to bring the UFC to Africa and South Africa. And that's amazing. I mean, if that is another massive goal in my life ticked, another one that I set, and I can say I went and I did that. But for me, I'm not going out there to defend my title. I'm going out there in my mind. When I get home, I'm going to fetch that belt. I said it before. When I walk out to that octagon, the belt is vacant, and I'm fighting for that title. And the same guy that was willing to die to win that belt is willing to die once again and kill to get that belt.
So this is more than just about the belt, isn't it? It's about legacy and what you've done for MMA in South Africa.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's been such a big part of what this has been about. My whole career is so much bigger than myself. Of course, the belt, because the belt resembles all of that. The belt resembles the fact that South Africa is being considered to host the first UFC, that Africa is being considered to host the first UFC. And, for myself, the work over all these years, this belt represents. So it's not all of those things. The belt is what, all of those things are under the belt. The belt is what represents all of those amazing things that are so much bigger than myself, representing my flag, my country, on the biggest stage in the world.
Dricus, just over here, man, a couple of quick ones. I know you'd mentioned that you got a couple of rematches potentially in the works, but with this feud with Israel, do you believe this is the beginning of potentially a few fights? Obviously, Izzy fought Rob a few times. You might potentially fight Sean and Rob a second time. Do you think this is the first of a few fights and really actually maybe the beginning of a feud?
With Izzy?
With Izzy, yeah.
Probably not. No. I don't think so, to be honest.
Well, what makes you think that there's no more fights down the line, just the way that this fight goes?
No, I'm not saying definitely. I just saying no, I haven't thought about it.
Okay. The stare down you guys had in that first presser in Perth was pretty intense, and I saw you were doing an interview. You said that when you do your stare downs, you like to let the other person know with your energy that you're there and you're not taking a step back. So I guess following up from that at the press conference, what are you expecting at that stare down and then potentially at the weigh-ins? Are you imagining it's going to keep progressing as you guys go on and on?
Yeah, I don't know about the weigh-ins, all of that. I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking that will happen the way it happens in the moment, and I'll be reacting accordingly. But I think that stare down was a very, very good indication of what to expect when the fight comes. And yeah, I meant what I said with the energy, feeling that energy, and you can without physically touching somebody, you can make them feel your dominance in terms of who is the alpha. And that's exactly what happened in that stare down. And that's exactly what will happen on fight night.
Just last one from me. I saw Darren Till had some advice for Izzy for the fight. Your reaction to that, and did you get a chance to see what he was saying?
I mean, the man got taken down by a boxer. Maybe maybe try and practice what you preach, man. The man couldn't stop a single takedown. The man said he won 2 rounds. He didn't win 2 rounds. He's crazy. I finished him, outstruck him, took him down, finished him in the 3rd round. He says he won the 1st round. I outstruck him 61 strikes to 0. And there was 20 seconds left. That's crazy stats. Yeah, he got me in that 2nd round until I got a take. I don't even know why we started discussing this. I mean, the man's in a downward spiral, and hopefully this coaching gig works out for him. But what I saw in terms of how easy it would be to beat me, why didn't he do it? So easy to see. Why didn't he do it?
Dricus, just over here. If you win this fight, you'll have beaten 3 of the past 4 middleweight champions, the exception being Alex Pereira, who's obviously in a different weight class now. Where do you think this puts you in the hierarchy of all-time middleweights, even though you're just starting your reign here?
Yeah, I mean, if you put it like that, it puts me pretty high, but that's not how I see it. I have a lot of work to do to be considered the greatest, or even close to that conversation. So, for me, this is, like I said, the beginning, and that's how I'll treat it.
Dricus right here, bro. Over here.
Yeah.
What's up, bro? I know they say it kind of takes a team to get you to where you're elevated at. Correct me if I'm wrong. You got a guy on your team by the name of ATN who's survived a stroke, a ruptured spleen, and a gunshot to the head.
Yeah, that is correct. The man is my corner, one of my best friends. Etienne is a legend in South African rugby. Played professional rugby and all over the world. And exactly like you said, the man has had multiple strokes, got shot in the head, had crazy story. He has a book out, Euro in South Africa. And just to have people with that kind of mindset, and I actually trained with the man. Have trained with him for many years, and he moved to America now, but he's been there for every single fight. And it's going to be great to have him in the corner, just to have that. You think to win a fight is motivation. Look at that, man. Look at that's only motivating to have somebody like that around you that appreciates life for what it is, and that's been that close to death that many times, and just shows appreciation and love for everything around him. And it's amazing to have someone like that in your circle, because they have such a big perception of what life is really about, and you can learn so much from them.
Dricus, just over here. When I spoke to you back in June, you mentioned that the confidence level within your teammates since becoming champion has increased dramatically, and it's given them the hope that they can become champion too, like yourself. I guess, what has this camp been like, going from a challenger to now the defending champion and alongside your teammates?
Yeah, I mean, let me tell you this. With my teammates now sparring, grappling, wrestling, striking against the champion of the world, it gave them the kind of thought. Firstly, it made me go, not only am I now, I've always tried to outwork everybody. And I always feel, I'm working harder than everybody. And once I became champion, I made sure, and I said, I can't only think I'm working harder than everybody. I am the example of what it means to be a world champion to each and every person that sees me, that has this dream or any dream. The only thing I can do is lead by example. And I made sure that I outwork everybody twofold. And that's been the case since becoming champion for me. And everybody stepped up their game because they're looking at me, and I know that. I know they're watching because the blueprint's been there. The blueprint has been, it's been done. And they're trying to catch up, and I won't let them. And that's what makes a great team. And obviously, like I said, when they're striking, grappling, or sparring, whatever, they go, this is the world champ. If I can take him down, that means I'm taking down the world champ. Where do I rank in the UFC? The best in the world. If I can catch the champ with big combinations, where does that put me in the UFC? Fighting pure wrestlers coming in, pure grapplers, pure strikers coming into the gym we got for camp. All of them go, well, I know he's not a pure striker, but he's still the world champ. So if I can beat on him, that's a feather in my cap, and I won't let that happen. So immediately I had to level up because everybody that went against me leveled up. And that was incredible. And I mean, as I get better, my team gets better, we all get better, and every fight we will be better, and I can't wait to prove that.
And just one more quick one. You've had some time now enough time to spend in Australia, I guess. What are your thoughts of Australia? I know you've spent some time with Jackson and Clayton, those sort of guys, making some funny skits. So I guess, what is your thoughts of Australia been so far? Yeah, myself and Jackson have been mates for quite some time. He was at my fight in Toronto as well. And then he came, he said he's going to visit South Africa for maybe a week, maybe 10 days, and he stayed for 2 months. He lived with my friend. We basically saw each other every day then. He just loved South Africa, so coming to his backyard is great. I was here 5 weeks ago when we made that skit with for the presser, and he's here right now. He came to watch the fight. Obviously, we'll have a great time afterwards. But I'm loving Australia. I always talk about the culture in places. That's the biggest difference. Anywhere you travel, the things that I find funny in another country might not be as funny, and actually might even be offensive, and the other way around. But when I came to Australia, that was the one thing: the people, the culture, if you look at guys like Jackson and how we get along, and the humor that the Australian fans and people share with I think it's very, very similar, very, very similar to South Africa. And that's why there's such a big South African community that
can climatize in Australia, and that's why so many of them have immigrated to Australia. So, yeah, I've been loving it. I think up until this point, Australia has been probably one of my favorite places I've ever been to. It's my first time in Australia, but I've been loving it. The weather is great. The food is amazing. I can't wait to really enjoy the food. But yeah, it's been great. The quality of meat, which is a big thing for me, the quality of meat. And then, of course, the quality of beer, which I will find out exactly after the fight.
Just one more. Are you going to go to the Springboks and Wallabies game on Saturday night?
I wish I could. It's just too late. I mean, I have to wake up very early. The fight's happening. Get my sleep, and of course, focus on replenishing. We know with in Australia we only get 24 hours to rehydrate and recover after a weigh-in. So it's a big time difference. 12 hours less. It's a massive difference. So focus will be on that. But I'll be watching the game, cheering the boys like I always am, and I know they're going to do great. Yeah, I'll be in my room and watching that. And at that stage where I'm at, there's only one thing on my mind. That's that fight.
Dricus, over here to your right. Over here. When you were a challenger and you were coming up through the ranks, you were consistently winning, but it felt like you were never getting the respect. It felt like every fight was a little bit, the fans were like, oh, this one, he'll lose. And then it kind of kept going. I know you don't fight for the internet. You don't fight for their respect. But a victory over Adesanya, who was such a long-reigning champion, do you think that stomps out any disrespect?
Don't really know. Don't really care. For me, what I care about is winning this fight. This fight is not any bigger to me than any other fight. Every single fight I fight, whether it was my debut, whether it's now, when I step in there, it's the most important fight. And in my mind, the last fight I will ever fight in my life. I'm going out there to win or die trying. Every single fight. So who I fight and what the internet thinks about it, that's got nothing to do with me. What's this? This is all the proof that I need. I don't need some internet troll or some couch potato to tell me whether I'm good or not. This tells me how great I am.
Hey, Dricus, you mentioned how you've been having a great time in Perth. You got here early. A lot of your training camp has been done at Kick-Ass MMA. Has Stephen Kennedy and the boys been treating you well there?
Yeah, they've been treating me extremely well. I mean, I've been here for 2 weeks. And the gym is an amazing facility. Everybody's been super, super helpful and nice. Me and my team came in early, 17 days before the fight. And we've been training there and preparing for the fight, preparing for the last 2 weeks. At Kick-Ass, it was, the boys been great. I mean, the whole team they've been very accommodating, gave us everything we needed. Amazing facility.
We spoke this week as well because, as has already been touched on, a massive weekend for South African sport. It happens in Perth, Western Australia. It's going to be very tough for you on the Saturday night. You just obviously completed the weigh and you're relaxing for your fight, but you're going to be able to hear the crowd at Optus Stadium while your Springboks are playing. You're going to be tempted to sort of walk across to take a sneak peek into the game?
Absolutely. I have an amazing room with a balcony. I can tell you this much. I'm going to be watching the game. I'll turn the TV, do what I have to, but I'm going to sit outside on the balcony and watch the TV and hear the crowd cheering. It's going to feel like I'm right there.
You know, people, we can get you tickets, you know.
Oh, geez, stop it. Stop it. I'm going to have to say yes if you keep on.
All the best.
Dricus, just a really quick one here, man. I wanted to touch on your relationship with Eugene Berriman. Maybe not relationship, but obviously, like, we spoke with him yesterday and he spoke about how he was in that training room when, like, you guys were sparring and stuff like that. I think you guys might have done some rounds together. And obviously, you guys had, like,
No, me and Eugene didn't do it. My brother and Eugene did some rounds together.
Right, okay. He had a lot of nice things to say about you guys, which is quite contrasting. Obviously, there's you and Israel, but then you and the team seem to have, like, really good feelings towards each other. I just wanted to see if you could touch on sort of, like, your relationship with Eugene and sort of, like, seeing him just before in the hotel as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I have the world's respect for Eugene. Coach Eugene the man is obviously brilliant. Look at the pedigree of fighters he's coached. I have all the respect in the world. And myself and Israel's feud has nothing to do with my relationship with them. And that, I think that goes to show on what you call maturity and emotional intelligence. Just because I don't like Israel Adesanya doesn't mean I don't. When we're in a group of friends, I can like everybody, but sometimes there's one guy you just don't like. It's fine. Just ignore them. You know, it's okay. You know, I like Volk. He's one of my all-time favorite fighters. I actually went up to him and told him what a badass I think he is. I mean, this is a long time ago, maybe, months ago, when I met him at the PI. I trained with Volk 10 years ago. I trained before any one of us, anyone on that team and myself was even close to the UFC. I trained with Volk, Dan, Hangman, who is one of the most savage fighters, in my opinion, one of the toughest, baddest dudes on the planet. And even Kai Kara, France, he was training there too. We've known each other for a long time. We had drinks back then. We were friends, and we always have been. So the fact that myself and Israel doesn't like each other doesn't change the fact that I have mad respect for their whole team and, well, those that I know, and I think they're great people. It's just the fact that we don't like each other doesn't mean anything about how I feel about any of the others.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Just say, Israel, stop searching for my Willie on the internet. It's weird. It's very freaking weird, man. Come on.